Much, much worse for the Democrats this year than in 1994. Why wasn't the Republican victory this year much bigger? The Tea Party.
You look at also the ballot initiatives. Right now, there's a couple of scorched earth, cut taxes ballot initiatives voted on both in Massachusetts, and there were 3 separate ones in Colorado. Looks like they're all going down. They're all going down. So even if you take away the Tea Party candidates and their flaws and their intricacies out of this, and you just go to the pure issue, scorched earth, cut all the taxes, starve the government, drown the government in the bathtub, those things are losing too.
Across the board, discretionary cuts.
That's right.
Across the board.
Discretionary bathtub cuts. To follow that, Luke Russert, our Capitol Hill correspondent, is with us now from RNC headquarters in Washington, where I'm sure none of these details factor into the equation of how the Republicans feel tonight. Luke.
No, not indeed, Keith. Pretty vibrant atmosphere, a joyous atmosphere. A lot of staffers and volunteers for the NRCC. Just listened to John Boehner give a rousing speech and actually chanting USA, USA as Boehner was actually weeping. But the man who was responsible for delivering this massive Republican victory, right next to me is Deputy Minority Whip, Mr. Kevin McCarthy of California. What did you tap into to bring such a massive victory for the GOP tonight?
Well, I think it's not so much about the GOP. It's more against the direction of where the country's going right now. I mean, only in America are people given a second chance, and I think Republicans are about to be given a second chance. What the country will really be looking at is, will we do what we said we would do? And if you look about the candidates, a lot of them are first-time runners, from Stephen Fincher from Frog Jump, Tennessee. It's more a desire about the country itself, about jobs and about spending, than it is about some bridge in their district or from that point.
Now, you said in National Journal that tonight would not be a victory for us, more so a vote against the Obama administration and their policies. If we don't change and respect the voters, we won't get another chance for a generation. What do you have to change as a member of the GOP, and where does the party have to change this time around?
I think the party has to make sure they're always listening. I mean, I think one of the biggest things the country's saying is get the House in order, find solutions to problems, and more importantly, get the private sector working again. They can't maintain going Washington and it is, and change the culture of Washington. This idea that elitism, the idea that the arrogance of Washington, that people won't listen. So from a lot of standpoints, you'll find from just changing the House from how a bill is 72 hours to any member can bring up an amendment when it's a spending bill to curbing the spending itself and bringing something together. Look, I'm very hopeful. In 1994, when we had a divided government, they were able to do welfare reform and others, able to work together. I think tomorrow is a new day. I know the president's going to have a press conference. I know in '94, Bill Clinton said the era of big government's over. This is a time that I think America's sending a message to all to solve a problem. Get America working again. And one key point that's different from '94 and 2006, unemployment back then was 5% and 4%. This is the longest unemployment has been consecutively over 14 months since the 1930s.
But, sir, GOP Conference Chairman Mike Pence, as well as Mr. Boehner, have both said that this right now is not a time for compromise. Do you see the GOP willing to compromise with the president on significant issues?
I see where we've laid out in the pledge. We don't think tax increases during a recession. We think you have to have the ability to bring in our spending. We've gone in 4 short years from $161 billion deficit to $1.4 trillion. First time since the Budget Act of '74 has passed, we don't have a budget. There's a lot of things we can work together to solve the problems and move forward. I think listening to Boehner tonight, yeah, we have our principles, we have our mission of where we're laying out and what we'll fight for, and we want to see problems solved at the end of the day.
What's the first thing you think you can compromise on with President Obama in House and Senate Democrats?
Well, I think the first thing is no new taxes. Even before we left the House, 37 Democrats signed the letter, said they didn't want a tax increase during this time. I think America has spoken as well. So it's a time that we can move forward and get this country moving again. Take the uncertainty off the table. Well, there's no more what's hanging over there. Let that $1 trillion sitting on the sideline invest back in this country. Look, this is a unique night. There's a change in power inside Congress without one single shot being fired. Our Constitution works again. But from the same time, the American people are going to be watching very closely. And they're saying from both perspectives that you just had something swing very quickly. And from all respect, this is bigger than 1994. So they are really, the American public is really looking to see for a solution.
Now, you've said that okay, that's it, wrap. We're going back to you guys in the panel.
Russert,
take care.
Thank you. Illinois has been decided for the Democrats. Correction, for the Republicans. Let's do that. Let's do that right now. The Senate in Illinois, it was trending into 90 and plus percent in terms of the vote on the board, and now NBC News can project Mark Kirk, the Republican, has defeated his young Democratic challenger, Alexei Janulius, 48-46 with 8% to be counted, an 84,000 vote margin, or 83,000 closer to it in Illinois. So the new Senate at this hour, there have been 5 Republican pickups. As we said earlier, the inoculation provided by Senator Inouye's re-election in Hawaii is coming into 4. There are 4 races still outstanding, if my math is correct, and we're expecting further details on Nevada throughout the evening. Alaska, I don't know when we'll have those numbers, frankly, and Colorado, and now Washington. Washington is still open. Pennsylvania may be coming close. We're hearing reports that Pat Toomey, the Republican candidate, is intending to speak shortly, even though that race has not been called universally. And when our coverage continues, we may be having Mr. Toomey speaking in advance of a full call on a too close to call race from Pennsylvania. This is MSNBC.
The Place for Politics 2010, brought to you by the 100% electric, no-gas Nissan Leaf. Innovation for the planet, innovation for all.
Introducing the 100% electric Nissan Leaf. Innovation for the planet. Innovation for all.
We're with you when you're saving for your dreams.
When you want a bank that travels with you. With you when you're ready for the next move.
Now that Wells Fargo and Wachovia have come together, what's in it for you? Unprecedented strength, the stability of the leading community bank in the nation, and with 12,000 ATMs and thousands of branches, we're with you in more ways and places than ever before.
With you when you want the most from your bank.
Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far.
Experience a new level of global networking. For life on a whole new scale.
Excellence in flight. Korean Air.
Something wrong with your squeegee, kid?
I'm a little sick.
Sick? You gonna let a sore throat beat you? You're fearless. This building is tough, but it's never seen the likes of you before. Are you going to be a champ or a chump?
A champ.
Show me.
Halls, a pep talk in every drop.
With triple soothing action.
Isn't it times like these that reminds us of what's important? The people in our lives. The ones we love. The ones who love us. And after all, what could be more important than love? So if you're asking yourself if you can afford to get away with savings like these, how can you afford not to? This month only, save up to 65%. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Everyone's got an opinion. Why not get paid for yours? Visit bigspot.com and become an online survey taker. As an online survey taker, you'll earn cash and rewards for sharing your opinions on the products and services you use every day. And there are never any fees to pay. What's the catch? There isn't one. Market research companies value your input and pay out millions of dollars each year to survey takers. Why not get your share?
Log on to bigspot.com/TV85 to earn cash and rewards for your opinions.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women have certain unalienable rights. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and the freedom to believe that our best days are still ahead.
The Republicans have picked up another Senate seat. NBC News can project, governor's seat, can project that John Kasich is the winner in Ohio. The raw vote total, yes, from Fox News. he'll just pack up his office there and move it back to the Capitol in Columbus. 49% of the vote, with 15% yet to be counted over the incumbent Democrat Ted Strickland. Meanwhile, in the Pennsylvania race, Associated Press has called it for Pat Toomey, although we have it still as too close to call. 74,000 the difference, with 10% of the vote yet to go. Mr. Toomey is speaking right now, having claimed earlier in the speech that Joe Sestak had called him to concede. Let's join Mr. Toomey, already in progress.
Beautiful little girl is our daughter, Bridget, and you know she agrees with me. And the big boy here is Patrick. And the person that I need to thank most of all is the person who makes my whole life possible. And she is the mother of our children. She is the rock that provides me with love and encouragement and support. And that is, of course, my wife, Chris. A huge thank you to really so many people who've supported this campaign in so many ways. We've been at this for 19 months. The people who sent in contributions, do you know there are over 72,000 people contributed to this effort? And so many came in envelopes with a check of $10 or $20 and often a little note inscribed. And I'm enormously grateful to everybody who made that personal sacrifice. The volunteers, tens of thousands of people across the Commonwealth who started so long ago circulating petitions to get my name on the ballot, and then they put up yard signs and made phone calls and went door to door and did all the hard work. I told you we needed all of that effort. And I am very grateful for all of that support. There's one gentleman that I do want to recognize who stepped up and agreed to play a major leadership role in my campaign, and I'm very grateful to him for all of his guidance and support and all the arm twisting he did, and that's Cliff Benson, who's here from Pittsburgh. But thank you. And I just have to take a minute to just tell you how enormously impressed and grateful I am to the campaign staff that we had. This is just an amazing team, I got to tell you. Excuse me, these guys spent months on end working 18-hour days. I can't tell you, I don't even know how many nights they spent sleeping on a couch and getting up in the morning again after basically a nap and going at it again. The determination was amazing. The perseverance, the spirit of these guys was tremendous. They're mostly young. They're all incredibly smart. They just worked their hearts out. Everybody played a crucial role. The folks in the communication shop, the fundraising guys, the political organization, the grassroots organizers, and people who managed the back office, the scheduler and the travel crew. Everybody was absolutely superb. I don't think it's speaking out of school for me to brag about these guys by telling you that several sitting senators who've been watching a lot of races very closely have observed that these guys have been running the best Senate campaign in the United States of America. And I am grateful for that.
One of those envelopes Senator-elect Toomey opened was enclosed in it a Chamber of Commerce check for $1.7 million. It was not all $3 at a time. Just to mention that.
The note was very sweet and heartwarming, though.
Yeah, here's $1.7 million from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce on this. He didn't get it, obviously. It went to advertising during it. Joe Sestak, the Democratic nominee, the Republican, the representative, is speaking. As we understand it, his concession speech in progress. Let's join that in a close-fought race in Pennsylvania. Here is Joe Sestak.
Thank them enough, and the rest of, and my mom, and you know, my pop's up there, and his hand's on that tiller. So thank you very much to my family. And my brother. And then I wanted to mention my congressional district, and those I worked for a number of years. Republican, Democrat, Independent. I never had a better boss than them. I love being their public servants. 700,000 strong. And it was As I always said, if you can't be in the Navy, I had the next best job.